Just beginning to look inside ourselves. If you'd like to, feel free to take the hands in Namaskar, just taking the seat of experiential intelligence, right? This interoceptive awareness is turning in of our attention, just beginning to tune into physical sensation. I know for some of us, that's not too hard. And just noticing that which shows up. We're not trying to interpret or change or fix or modify. Just noticing, just practicing this art of paying attention in the present moment with each breath as it arises. Good, and just letting that breath fall away as the ocean waves. Begin to establish yourself in your breath. The tip of the tongue resting against the hard palate of the mouth. So that's the roof of the mouth, just behind and the front, behind the ledge of your upper teeth. Bringing a soft aspirating quality to the inhalation of the breath and a whispering quality to the exhalation of the breath as you engage Ujjayi if you would like to. And with the next exhalation of the breath, releasing the arms, chin to the throat. Little half moon circles, rolling the right ear to right shoulder, or just turning the head to one side. You can also just kind of roll the chin to the shoulder. So just trying to feel into the neck. We're bringing some movement right into the throat and the neck and the upper back, shoulders. Good. Chin to the chest. Just kind of letting the right hemisphere of the brain fall towards the right shoulder, left hemisphere of the brain fall to the left shoulder. Just kind of feeling the weight of the brain, the length or the stretch in the neck. And, if the shoulder comes up a little bit, that's okay, right? It's just noticing how the body is kind of trying to facilitate the process. One more time on the other side. Just kind of breathing into the stretch, into the tug. Inhale to lift the head back up, and then shrug and roll the shoulders back and down. So drawing those arms up, broaden the collarbones, narrow the shoulder blades. One more time. We'll do this both directions. Good. And now the opposite direction. Draw the shoulder blades together, lift the shoulders, and then roll them forward. Beautiful. All these nerves that extend from the cranial nerves, right? They extend from the brain all the way out through the shoulders, down through the arms. Good. One more time. Beautiful. Inhale. Let's take the arms out to the sides. I'm going to back up here. See? Good. And then from here, we're going to just nerve floss the arms. So flexing one wrist, extending the other. And so you can kind of hollow the armpit, plug in the arms without squeezing the shoulder blades together. Beautiful. And all we're doing is alternating wrist flexion, wrist extension. Breathing at the same time. Beautiful. And then very gently extend the arms, the hands. Curl the fingers into a loose fist, and then just begin to circle out the wrists, first in one direction. Get a loose, you're not squeezing the hand super hard. But you'll notice, I think it gets into the forearms a little bit, and then reverse the roll. Beautiful. So just the wrists. See if you can just get into the wrist right now. Good. Now extend the arms. Broaden. So you want to widen through the ball of the hand, the heel of the hand. See if that can support just a soft broadening of the upper sternum, and then small shoulder circles. So holding, preserving the integration. You can take the arms a little lower than the shoulders as needed, but just kind of preserving the integrity of the shoulders, and then mobility, mobilizing upper arm bone in the shoulder girdle. Pause, other direction. Good, and keep breathing. Don't hold your breath. Beautiful. Good. Pause, spin the palms, face up towards the sky. Plug the arms in, reach those arms up. Good. Lift and lengthen. See if you can create some space between the temple and the inner upper arm. Lift the ribcage away from the pelvis. Nice. Take a twist over to the right, turning from the tailbone. Good. Rolling the belly. And then really twisting at the waist, right? So the abdominal muscles are turning the torso here. Good. Take a deep breath in, arms to the sky. Again, deep breath in, lift and lengthen. Nice. Drop the shoulders. Exhale, twist to the left. Again, turn from the tailbone. Think of kind of rolling the belly. Try not to pop the ribs here. Drop the ribs. Nice. And then use the abdomen, the abdominal muscles to support the twist. Breathing in, take the arms back up to the sky. Lift and lengthen. And exhale, palms face down. Gently release the arms all the way down. Very nice. We'll take a little side stretch here. So take the right leg. Start with the right leg in front of the left. Very lovely. And we're going to just start by walking that right hand out to the side, taking a little side stretch. So I'm going to tip the whole pelvis. I like this particular one. Tip the whole pelvis to the right. And then very gently take that left arm if you'd like to alongside the temple. You don't have to. Again, if you're working with shoulder stuff, you're just going to keep the left hand. Heel of the hand slides down the side body, right into the crease of that left hip. And then as you gently weight that left sitting bone to the floor, you can extend that lower arm and just feel that side stretch. So I can really feel the stretch, especially the lower back. Keep the lower ribs drawn in so you can get into this, the deeper muscles, right, at the abdominal plexus. So, and notably the iliopsoas. Take a deep breath in. Very nice. Exhale. Inhale. Maybe the head falls a little bit towards the shoulder. Keep the head weighted. The arm extends up. Spin the palm away from you and then reach the arm out, broadening from the collarbone, right? So the arm is just an extension of that collarbone, releasing the arm towards the earth, and then very gently make your way back up. We're going to come into a little forward bend. So again, take the thumbs from the inner thigh to the outer hips, kind of helping the thighs roll open. Hinge forward and walk the arms out in front of you. Very nice. So again, as you tip forward, see if you can angle the sacrum away from the floor using that tripod position, right? Beautiful. And breathe into the back. Billow the back a little bit. Draw the navel, draw the lower ribs in towards the body. So you almost come into like a, what we call a cat stretch here, right? Rounding the back. Release from the hips, walk the arms a little further out. Good. If you want more sensation in the hips, you can lift the sternum, draw the heart forward, gaze out. If you want a little bit more sensation in the hips, then you just take that right foot on top of that left thigh. Making sure the ankle isn't twisting, right? Agni Shtambasana, fire log pose, where you stack the shins. Take one more deep breath in here, just noticing the hips. See if something can release. So we have to notice the holding on in order to be able to soften and maybe release a little. And then inhale to walk the hands back in. Beautiful. We're going to shift the weight back now behind the sits bones. So same thing as you rock the pelvis back. Good. Draw the navel, draw the ribcage into the body. Step the feet together. Good. We're going to come into Namaste before we switch sides. So inhale, you might extend the arms. You can also just take the hands to the floor. Find that if you reach the hands forward, it helps to kind of really concentrate the energy in the abdomen. So again, here's your cat stretch. You're not compressing down. You're just concentrically drawing the rib cage, the navel, the waist muscles in, and then trying to get the lift of the rib cage away from the pelvis as you extend the legs. Maybe the shins are parallel to the floor. And breathe. Beautiful. Hug the thighs all the way into the chest. Good. And this time, take that left leg in front of right. Nice. Take that left arm out. We're going to just kind of tip over to the left side. Just take the other leg in front. Good. Right arm can extend alongside the temple or heel to the thigh. And then very gently press. So extending that left arm, right? As you, all I'm doing is weighting that right hip to the earth. And here's where you get some contraction to the underside. Good. And some stretch, some length to the over the top side of the body. And breathe in. Good. Exhale. Maybe the head releases towards that lower shoulder. Relax that lower shoulder. Good. And as you extend that right arm away from you, palm extends away. And then down, you'll start to feel as the arm sort of extends and broadens the collarbone. You're going to feel that length, that stretch, a slight tugging to the side of the neck. Beautiful. And then very gently bring yourself back up. Again, forward fold, breathing in, lift. Exhale, draw those lower ribs in towards the midline, back into the body, navel retracts and hinge forward, right? So you want to engage the abdomen to support the back. Once you have that forward fold, extend and draw the sternum up. Good, navel to the spine. Again, some of you might want a little bit more sensation in the hips. One more breath, exhale, see if you can release whatever might be holding on, even just a little bit. We're getting into that lower back, outer hip, a little bit here. Extend those arms, inhale, exhale, navel to spine, walk the hands back in. We're going to take Navasana, full pose one more time. So again, see if you can, so you want to shift your weight behind the sits bones, come into your cat pose. Navel, rib cage, draw in, and then you kind of contract, right, concentrically, extending those arms. Think of lifting the rib cage up, away from the pelvis as you continue to hold the abdomen, and then walk the feet in. If you'd like to, you can lift the feet away from the floor. And kind of just take it to your degree and try to bring those knees as close to the chest as possible. One more deep breath in. Exhale. Really contract. Cross the ankles. We're going to roll over the feet or take the feet to one side. Just be kind of nice, right? I'm just going to spin on my hips, feet to one side, spin around, and lower the knees to the floor. Right. Good. And stretch out through the toes. And let's just tap out the feet for a moment here. Good. We're going to take a little cow, get into the spine. Good. And then we'll shift into our feet a little bit. Good. Take a deep breath in. Let's take the heart, the weight forward, so you get a little wrist flexion here. Heart forward, and then lift and pull up on those arms. And then shift the weight back. Scoop the tailbone. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale. Dropping into the hips and the shoulders, and then lifting out. And the ribcage draws forward away from the pelvis. Exhale back and contract. Curl in as much as you can. Inhale, you can take a full breath, right? Exhaling into your extension, and then inhaling as you transition, or exhale into cat, inhale into cat. Beautiful. Inhale, come back to neutral spine. We're going to bring the knees together. Right leg extends behind you. Good. And we're just going to extend out through the heel first. Scoop the tailbone under. So again, and press into the hands so you kind of come into your cat. Hold the position of the pelvis as you roll over the toes. So we're just going to come forward and back over the toes. Ball of the foot. Keep the leg really nice and extended. Good. And again. Nice. One more time. Forward. Good. And back. Shifting the weight forward, inhale, pick up that right leg, take the heart forward, keep extending out of the arms. So try to keep this leg as parallel as possible. That's the hardest thing for me personally. You know, the leg wants to kind of externally rotate, so try to keep the hips square. Good, rolling the inner thigh up towards the ceiling. One more deep breath in. You have the option of extending the opposite arm to leg. Tiger pose. One more breath. And then release. Hug the right knee all the way into the chest and squeeze. And then lower the leg to the floor. Other side. Left leg extends. Scoop the tailbone under. And then we're going to keep the curl the tailbone under, or curl the pelvis under, right? And just roll over the feet. So we want the extension of the left leg. Rolling over the toes. Pulling up on those arms. I want to keep the gaze a little forward so the head stays above the level of the heart. Otherwise, you know, we start to pull on the neck again. One more time. Exhale. Good, really getting into the toes, the articulation of the feet. And then this time lifting that left leg up. Beautiful. And just kind of finding as much extension as you can. Breathe in, reach that left leg. So it's not just an extension of the hip, right? But lengthens the whole left body. And then the opposite arm can extend. Breathe in. Exhale, see if you can lift, so you're not sinking, but lifting the front body to the back body, and then right hand to the earth, left knee all the way into the chest. Really nice. Curl, and then lower that left knee to the floor, child pose. Hips to heels. Forehead towards the earth. Breathe into the back body. Nice. Exhale. With the exhalation of the breath, draw the navel to the spine so you can pull the rib cage into the body and then make your way back up to hands and knees. So I'm going to offer a couple of options here. We're going to start by flexing the toes. Again, with the knee stuff. If you have flexion in the knees, that's great. We're just going to kind of flex the toes. Come a little further forward so you can kind of see the toes. Toes come onto, I have a little bit of padding under the knees, right? So you can use that padding to support the head of the shin bone, the knee joint. Yeah, it's really helpful. And I'm going to try to hook my big toes on the mat and start to shift my weight back. So my feet are a tiny, tiny bit apart, right? I have a bunch of different things I can do here. You could have a chair, especially if you're working with knee stuff. You could work with a block or a cushion between the heels and the hips. You might also just keep the weight forward. This is called tripod position, where the hands are right underneath the shoulders, really powerful for the breath, right? And like this, I'm just kind of softening my hips back towards the block, lifting the heart, extending those arms. Nice way to be able to work with the breath. If you have the option, right, we're going to come into, this is Vajradasana to begin with. We're just going to lean back, finding that uprightness in the spine and the torso. Same thing, rib cage is going to lift away from the pelvis as the pelvis kind of grounds and anchors the feet. I don't know if anyone has a yoga wheel. I love the yoga wheel because it gives you a little bit more height and you can do a lot with it. So again, breathing in, right? You might have the yoga wheel. You might be sitting on a chair with the feet tucked underneath. So there's a whole bunch of different options that you have. And then of course, the more intense one is just sitting right back on the heels. And take a deep breath in. Allow the heart to rise. I know you've been here for a little while. Exhale, navel, ribs draw back towards the spine. Take the hands back down to the floor. Good. Those of you on the chair, we're going to sit downward facing dog for a moment, and then we'll come back. Just to release the knees, release the toes. Good. Scoop the toes and take those hips back. Good. Exhale. We're going to shift into Prapadasana. So you might work with the chair here. Breathing in. I'll show you the setup for the chair in a moment. But from your downward facing dog, good. Let's start by taking the right foot forward into a lunge. You might come to your hands and knees and just kind of swing that right foot forward. And we're going to keep the back toes tucked underneath, right? And then from here, just start to shift your weight back. So you're going to start like this is Ardha Hanumanasana, your calf split, right? And then slide this right foot back until it comes all the way back towards the knee. And then if you can, you're either sitting back in your chair again, right? Or sitting back on the ball of this foot. Nice. In Prapadasana. Good. Inhale. So it's just one, right? One leg. And then see if you can lean back a little bit. Yeah. Drop the right hip. Breathe in. Exhale. One more deep breath in. This starts to go into some balancing poses, right? Exhale, shift your weight forward. Again, it's just rocking forward. Good. And then you can take that downward dog, taking that right foot back. Woo. And just notice that left foot. Breathe in. Good. and breathe out. You can take the knees to the floor or just step your left foot forward this time. All right, so I'm going to step or swing that left foot forward between the front legs of the chair. Or if you need to sit on the chair, you're going to either take the chair in front of you, bring it with you, or sit back on the chair if you need to. Flex those back toes. Good. Shift your weight back. So the back toes are flexed. Again, I have padding under that right knee this time as I shift my weight back. So I'm going to start in Ardha Hanumanasana, your half split, and then slide that left foot back. So the heel is going to come back, or the foot's going to even come back as close to the knee as possible. Right? And I'm just going to kind of sit back. Make sure you're on the ball of the foot. Breathe in. Exhale. The left hip may hike up, right, to prevent the weight in that right foot. See if you can drop that left hip. That's the challenging part in this pose. This is pretty intense for the knee and the toes. One more breath. My left hip keeps wanting to hike up. Exhale. And then shift or rock your weight forward. Take that left foot back. Beautiful. I do a lot of work on my feet because I have the bunion on my right foot. So I do a ton of work on the feet. So I know this is really challenging. We're going to take another deep breath in. Beautiful. And then with the exhalation of the breath, draw the navel to the spine, lower the knees to the earth. Good. And we're going to tuck the toes. Good. Hook the big toe, get a little bit of space, and then walk the hands back. Good. And then this is also called toes pose, where you're on the ball of the foot. I'm going to roll all the way back to the ball of the foot. Again, if this is too much compression in the knees, sit on a chair so you don't have the compression in the joints, but you do get the movement without the pressure, okay? Take a deep breath in. Good. Set this up so that your heels are going to come up away from the floor. This is actually really good practice for your crow pose or crane pose, the arm balances. You're going to lift those heels up coming onto the ball of the foot and let the tailbone and the hips drop, right? So there's that curling under, that posterior tilt of the pelvis, the drawing in of the rib cage, drawing back of the navel. Lengthen the rib cage away from the pelvis, and all you're going to do is more than unfurl. You're just really going to try to lean back a little bit and find some balance. Good. The heels stretch back as the knees extend forward and then soften through the hips. Breathing in. Beautiful. See if you can find your toes pose, your balancing pose. One more deep breath in. Really nice. Maybe the arms go up towards the sky to get that lift and length of the side body. Good. Exhale. We're going to come into Uttanasana or ragdoll pose. So again, we're just going to contract and curl in. Take the hands to the floor or your blocks. Lower the heels all the way to the floor. Some people may. I can't get my heels all the way down. Good. And then after many, many years of practice, right, the Achilles are still super tight. And then come into your forward fold, your ragdoll pose. So again, I'm going to bring my big toes towards one another. Good. Take the navel out towards the knees and drape the chest around the thighs. Maybe you can take the hands to opposite elbow. Good. Maybe you come into a full extension of the legs as you let the torso drape around the thighs. Good. And just find some length through the side body. Breathe in. Breathe out. So if the legs are fully extended, lift and pull up on those knees, engage the abdomen. The front of the leg has to actively engage to support the stretch in the back of the leg. Same thing, the abdomen engages to support the release in the back body. Breathe in. It feels really intense, but again, physiologically, we want to engage one set of muscles so that the antagonist muscles could release. And then from here, let's soften those knees, hands to thighs, unfurl to standing, rolling the heart up and open and the shoulders back and down. Beautiful. Take a deep breath in. We're going to start with a little balancing. So ground your left foot. We're going to bring the right knee up and in. So I'm going to take the hands, interlace the fingers. You can work. We're going to step towards the front of the mat here, so I'm towards the back. But feel free to just come to the front of your mat, and without walking, just use the chair right? So your foot will come onto the seat of the chair. Otherwise, we're gonna just find that balance, interlace the fingers, draw the head of the shin up. Good, feeling into the plane of your back. Same thing here, drop that right hip. Ground and anchor your left leg, breathe in. Beautiful, exhale. Interlace the fingers underneath the right thigh, extend the right leg, pushing the thigh down into the hands. Good, if you'd like to point the toes or flex the ball of the foot, toes lifting towards the sky, extending a little through the heel. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, push the thigh down, push the thigh down, push the thigh down. Soften the standing leg. Take that right heel way out in front of you, beautiful. Roll from the heel to the ball of the foot. And all we're gonna do is lift, but extending that right leg. Again, keep the hips really square, and we're just gonna lift that left leg a little bit, working with the hamstring to extend that leg behind us. So this is preparation for, like, I don't know, warrior pose, warrior 3, for example, right? Or standing split. Very nice. Take a deep breath in. So you might be having the hands on the seat of the chair if you'd like to. If you're not working with the chair, the hands can come to the heart, and you can shift your weight forward a little bit. Come back up to an upright position. Bring that left leg through. Soften the right knee and just step left foot, right foot forward. Good. Samasthiti, equal standing. Very nice. Let's take a vinyasa. Releasing the arms. Ground your feet. Inhale, sweep to the sky. Lift the gaze. Hinge from the hips and bow forward. Inhale, half lift. You might be working with your chair here, right? Or your blocks. Exhale, we're going to step back into a high plank position. Shoulders over the wrists. Scoop the tailbone. Gaze is forward of the hands. Come way up onto the toes and see if you can kind of really harness the abdominal energy. Good. Exhale, lower the knees. And then without bending the elbows, start to press the hips forward and draw the heart, the sternum up. I'm not pulling on the shoulders, otherwise you're going to pop the ribs and really crank into the kidneys. If you'd like to extend those legs, beautiful. Roll over the toes, or tuck one set of toes and then the other, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath. Fill the lungs, fill the back body. Draw the navel to the spine. Draw the rib cage in, squeeze the air to the lungs, and lower the knees to the floor. Walk the hands back towards the toes. Again, we're going to bring ourselves back into Padasana, toes pose, balancing on the ball of the foot. Good. Again, the feet are small, hip distance apart. And I want to lift my heels and drop my hips, drop my sits bones. Breathing in, engage the abdomen, so contract in. And then exhale to start to extend nice and slowly. Keep the navel, keep the rib cage drawing back. And then just slowly lift the sternum. Try to sort of extend from the front of the spine without pulling into the back of the body. You like to, the arms can extend out in front of you. The heel of the hand can also come to the thigh. One more deep breath in. We're going to come into Uttanasana. Exhale. So folding forward again, work with blocks, framing the feet. Root through the heels. Pull up on the knees. So your Uttanasana, your forward fold, right? Again, you can take ragdoll, right, if you need to, bending the knees and dropping the hips. Just make sure that the pelvis is tipping forward, that you're not tipping the pelvis back, because that's what compresses the lumbar, right? So you want to tip the pelvis forward, lift the sacrum, soften the heart, let the head fall towards the toes. Breathe in. Weight slightly forward in the ball of the foot. Exhale. Soften the knees, drop the hips, and root to rise, arms to the sky with the gaze. Exhale, arms by your sides. The other side, we're going to take the left leg this time, lifting that left knee. Good, slide the hands up the shin. Beautiful. Breathing in, so you might be working with the chair with the foot on the chair. Just really trying to stabilize the hips. Draw the rib cage in, lift and hold, engage from the abdomen, rooting through the standing leg. Stretch that left leg out. This time you want to press the leg into the hands. Beautiful. Reach and extend that left leg, right? Pushing, if you push the thigh down into the hands, it helps to get rid of the tension in the hip joint, right? The hip flexors. Push that left thigh down, lift the heart up. Good, and then soften your standing leg. Left heel reaches way out in front of you. And then roll from heel to ball of foot. Good, straighten out the standing leg, and I'm just gonna roll over the back toes. The pelvis tips forward a little bit, and that left leg is going to extend. Some of you might work with blocks or the seat of the chair. You can also take the hands to the heart. And tip forward just as much as you can comfortably, reaching that back leg. Good. And then come back up to an upright position. Good. And step the feet forward to the front of the mat. Release the arms by your sides. Inhale, sweep high. Hinge from the hips and fold. Inhale. Ardha Uttanasana, hands to the seat of the chair, the blocks, the earth. Bend the knees, step back to your high plank position. Take a deep breath in. Good, if you want to do a little something that's fun for the bones, you have to have the knees off the floor for this one, is you're gonna bend your knees. You wanna hold the tension in the abdomen here and just kind of hop the feet. Little spring. There you go, use your toes. Nice for the bone work here. Exhale, Chaturanga. Use the knees. Now bend the elbows to bring the heart forward. Shalabhasana. You can either just lift the legs away from the floor, taking the arms behind you. Good, you might interlace the fingers. So just taking variations on the arm position. As you lift the legs, the thighs away from the floor, rolling the thighs in towards each other, and the heart gazing off the tip of the nose. One more breath. Inhale, lower. Exhale, flex your toes, straighten your legs. And then you can roll forward over the toes and lift the heart. Good. Half cobra, upward dog. Exhale, back downward dog. Take 3 breaths. And with an exhalation of the breath, gently lower the knees to the floor. You're in child's pose. You come up to hands and knees. We're going to come back over the feet to sitting. So cross the ankles and crossing the shin bones and flexing, everting the feet. And as I roll over the feet, same thing. Tuck the tailbone, draw into the abdomen, and gently roll back. You can just take the feet to one side as well. Good. And then, beautiful. And then come into cross-legged position with the right foot in front of the left. Very nice. Woo. Let's take, I worked up a little bit of sweat there. Take that right heel. So if you need to, the position of the leg is not so important. You can sit on a chair in figure 4 position. You can straighten out this left leg, bring the right foot across the thigh, just above the knee. You want to work a little bit into the hips. Make sure you have some support for the knees and that you're pressing into the outer heel. All we're doing here is trying to find some space between the toes. So I'm threading the fingers of the left hand into the fingers of the right toes. It doesn't really matter which foot you have on top, but just all I'm gonna do is just work with circling the toes. Just finding some movement through the toe joints, the base of the toes. So my fingers are kind of pressing into the top of the foot at the base of your toes. Good, the heel of the hand is in the ball of the foot, the lung points. Good, and acupressure. Good. And then I'm going to just take the other hand and support the tibia, the outside, just above the ankle, right? So that you're not twisting the ankle, you don't have weight in the knee or the ankle. And then I'm going to roll the ankle. Yeah, just get some movement into the ankle. Make sure you're supporting the bone just above the ankle, the lower leg, and then reverse. Other direction, really lovely. Nice. Good. Nice, and then very gently release and stretch out the right toes. Stretch out the right foot, stretch out the left foot. Good. Heel of the hand is going to press the thigh down to the hip socket. I'm just going to draw the elbows back a little bit. Try not to pop the ribs, right? So you're just lifting the sternum, leaning back. Don't do anything with the shoulders, just neutral position with the shoulders. Inhale, Dandasana. Maybe the hands come down and press into the floor. Exhale, navel, ribcage, draw back. One more deep breath in. Chin to the throat. Mahamudra. Inhale, tip the pelvis forward. So this is a little bit of height underneath the hips is super nice. If you can, you're going to take the big toes. Otherwise, just take the shin bones. Pull yourself up, inhale. Good. The exhalation is Tribandha Pranayama. You're going to engage all the bandhas. Mula Bandha lift. Exhale. Navel, rib cage pull in. Good. Chin pulls in. Keep the chin tucked towards the base of the throat. And then draw the sternum up, holding the breath. Inhale, lift the chin. Exhale, navel to spine. Rib cage draws back and then lean back. Beautiful. Left leg in front of right, other side. Take that left, again, you can have that right leg fully extended. So just make sure you have the other foot on top this time. Figure four position. You could be sitting in a chair, that works as well. And we're going to thread the fingers of the opposite hand into the toes of the foot that's on top. It's crossed on top. Good. Just watch out if you have rings on your fingers or toes. Good. And then I want to make sure the ankle is supported by the leg first. You can also support the knee. And just try to get the toes, articulation in the ball of the foot, right? The metatarsal arch where the heel of the hand is. My fingers are kind of pressing into the base knuckles of the toes to get some dorsiflexion, toes pulling up, plantar flexion, toes pulling down. And what you'll notice is when you articulate the toes, this is eversion of the foot when you draw the little toe towards you. Good. As opposed to pronation, which is almost twisting the ankle, right? Reverse the roll if you haven't. Good. And then we're going to take the other arm, support the outer calf. I want the heel of the hand on sort of a bony structure, not just the muscle, right? And now the whole ankle, just kind of release the ankle. Very nice. And reverse the roll. So now we're working with the ankle, which again, it might affect the knee. You want to support the knee, but rolling the ankle to start to articulate, right, the base of the leg, if you will. Nice. Our foundation. Good. Very lovely. And we're going to stretch the toes out or the legs out. Here we are again, Dandasana. We're going to come in back into Mahamudra. Maha, great. Mudra is that, in this case, just a positioning, right? Mudra is usually a gesture, a hand gesture or an eye gesture, face gesture. Inhale, pressing the thighs down, lifting the heart up. Here's your Dandasana, chin to the throat. Breathe in. Breathe out, draw the navel to the spine. Take the big toes or the first two fingers of each hand. Good. Inhale. So you want to make sure the pelvis is tipping forward, not back, so you don't compress that lumbar spine, right? Tip the pelvis forward. If you need to, bend your knees. Good. And work this way. That works as well. Just kind of you want to make sure the pelvis isn't tipping back and you're not reaching for the toes, right? Tip the pelvis forward. Inhale, lift to the heart, Mula Bandha. Exhale, bring the navel, bring the rib cage back towards the spine, chin to the throat. holding the breath with the chin close to the throat, pull the sternum up, 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 shoulders down. Inhale, lift the chin. Exhale, lean back. Release. Very nice. We're going to come all the way down to the floor. So scooch a little forward on your mat. We're going to just take some supine twists here. So rolling down, be very conscious of curling the tailbone under, right? So same thing, posterior tilt of the pelvis, navel, rib cage, roll the front ribs, the floating ribs in towards each other and back into the body. And that's what's going to help you strengthen the abdomen and control the descent. I have a little bit of support or height under my hips. Very nice. And we're just going to take active rest, if you will. So take the feet a little bit wider than the hips. Turn the toes in, heels out, and let the knees fall into one another. And you can just rest the hands as if you were sliding them into your front pockets. Just rest your hands on your lower abdomen. Good. This is a hand mudra where the fingers are pointing down, right, towards the hips. Good. The thumbs are pointing in towards each other, so to speak. The back of the head's on the floor. And then see if you can push the head into the ground, lift the chest a little bit, and slide the rib cage towards the head so you get some length in that lumbar spine. Beautiful. Draw those heels in. Very nice. And we'll just start by taking that right heel to left thigh. Bring the left thigh into the chest. Good. Direct the left knee towards the left shoulder so it's not crossing the body. And then see if you can I'm just wrapping that right arm around that right leg, left hand to left shin, and guiding the legs towards the chest with a little bit of elevation, a little bit of height under the sacrum. Good to support that stretch in the hips. You have a couple of options here as we move into the twist. One is you can just stretch that left leg out, coming into sort of a reclined version of pigeon, right? And then very gently, all we're going to do is take that right knee across the body towards the left shoulder, right? And then right arm comes over to the far right. And you're going to roll over onto your left hip. Tip the pelvis. That left little toe, the straight leg, goes towards the floor as that right foot comes towards the ground. The other option is, again, you brought the right knee over towards the left shoulder. Both shoulders are on the ground. And you're just going to bring that left knee, tuck it in behind the right. Good. And I actually want to rest my left knee on that right heel. It's a little bit more intense, right? You're going to feel a little bit more in that right side body. Again, to the extent possible, I'm keeping the shoulders, the backs of the shoulders on the ground. Good. Make sure you don't have any torque in the knees, right? That's why I have some, again, foot support. You could also put your left hand or a block underneath that top knee. And we'll just take a few breaths. Breath in. What happens if you soften into the stickiness, into the tension, into the tugging, into the tightness? Good. And then very gently, let's bring the knees back up. Step the left foot in if the left leg is straight, or across the right leg if the legs are crossed. Beautiful. And again, find that restorative, active restorative pose. Knees fall into one another, hands in your imaginary front pockets. Take a breath. Let your back meet the earth. Heels step in, toes roll out a bit. Good. And this time, bring that left knee into the left shoulder. Left heel to right thigh. Good. Opening through the hip. And then draw the navel, draw the rib cage in, and fold that right knee towards the right shoulder. Left arm comes around that left leg. Right hand guides the right knee towards the right shoulder. Again, you could be sitting on a chair with that left foot on top of the right knee and just coming forward using gravity, right? Kind of really move into the hips here. Another little stretch. And then here, take that, keep the left leg where it is, lower the right foot to the floor, and just kind of keep that leg in your pigeon. And you can stretch that right leg out, get a nice stretch across the front of the hip. Take that left knee across the body. So you can start to move into from external rotation to internal rotation. And then you can kind of dial that right little toe, straight leg down towards the floor as the hips. That left hip comes up and over. I'm trying to keep my left shoulder on the ground. All right, so put some support under this left knee as it comes over to the side. Another option is to take that right leg and tuck the knee in. I'm going to keep the foot on the floor, but essentially then I'm crossing the legs, right? And then I'm going to lower the knees to the right. And I want that lower knee to rest on the heel of that top foot, keeping the shoulders on the ground, if possible, right? Take a deep breath in. Good. Exhale. Drop the rib cage. A lot of times we pull into the kidneys here, and that's what pulls the shoulder. So you want to drop the rib cage. Really allow your back body to feel wide and open. The twist, right, is at the waist. And what your abdominal muscles doing the twisting. The spine, you're just rotating one vertebra at a time, right? The lumbar doesn't rotate very effectively. So we want to protect the sacrum. We want to protect this lumbar spine. Twist from the waist as we start to bring some rotational movement into the thoracic, upper spine, and maybe the neck as you turn the head. The head's not going to turn very effectively if you don't have rotation in the upper spine. Right? You're going to start to pull on the head and the shoulders. So this is why twisting poses are so important. You can turn the head and neck, but if that's the only part of the body doing the twisting, then you're going to be in trouble. Or one more deep breath in. I don't know what kind of trouble. Your body will tell you. Exhale, draw the navel to the spine, rock the rib cage, and roll onto your back. Release that left foot. If you would like to, again, we're going to just kind of ground the back, get the back to the ear, engage the abdomen. And if you'd like to, you can bring the knees in and just stretch the legs up towards the ceiling. Good. And take the arms out to the sides. You can also come up against a wall if you'd like to complete your practice this morning with the legs up against the wall, sliding the heels up if that feels appropriate for your hamstrings. Good. Urdhva Padasana, this is just legs rising, reaching to the sky. Nice lymphatic drainage, nice blood flow, right? We're just vascularization, just kind of inviting blood to flow back to the heart. Using gravity rather than the heart to get the blood to return to the heart. Take another deep breath in. Exhale. So if you're setting up against the wall, just rest. So the hips come up against the wall, legs resting on the wall. So you don't hold them. You can also put a strap around the thighs just above the knees, and that will allow the legs to come just a little bit apart without feeling it like you have to hold them. So you want the legs about hip distance apart. There's a little bit of distance right between the feet here. Good. And then the other option is just to sort of meet yourself in Shavasana. So you can release the legs. I like to take the arms, just a counter extension, the arms above the head. And then again, I really want to kind of engage the abdomen and support the weight of the legs. Good. With the energy of the abdomen, not the back, as I lower them to the floor. Extending the heels to the front corners of your, or the back corners of your mat. Little toes to the air. Good. Pentacle pose. This is more of a yin pose, where the arms reach up to the top corners of your mat, the feet to the back corners of your mat. Good. And then gently release, taking Shavasana. So to me, myself in Shavasana, I just like to roll up my blanket and just place it right at the top of the thigh. It allows the pelvis to tip back. And for my whole spine, right, from my sacrum all the way to the upper back, and then the head to meet the floor. The only part of the spine, right, you might have a tiny part of your lumbar and the neck does not touch the floor. You want to try to preserve the natural curve of the spine. That's really important. And lean back, lie back, close the eyes if that feels appropriate to do so. And just allow your body to meet the earth. Really lovely grounding posture. Really nice way to just stabilize, but also harmonize all our internal systems, the endocrine system, the cardiovascular system, the nervous system, especially the nervous system, right? In a time of heightened anxiety, anticipation, and unpredictability, it's so important to do this internal work of grounding and stabilizing, anchoring, and finding steadiness within ourselves. And then allowing the breath to guide you into this place of rest and relaxation. Breath arising and falling away. Riding the wave of each moment's experience.